Like, what's the point? Hello everyone! Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute, good to see you. I thought that today we would do a cheeky January wrap up and a February TBR. So, there's not much else really to say apart from, sorry, I said that I was going to do a reading vlog. Changed my mind, didn't I? Changed my mind. It just really wasn't working for me. So we're just going to move straight on, aren't we? We're going to move straight on into the books that I read in January and what I plan to read in February. Okay, let's just dive right on in. It's a stupid joke, I don't know why I keep doing it. The first book that I read and completed in January was This Is How You Lose the Time War. It is a co-written book by Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. My glasses are here! Right, I don't know if my phone's going to fall when I get on the bed. I have some glasses. Let me explain. So, I went to, this is so not interesting, but I'm going to tell you now. So, I went to the eye doctors for some tests. Turns out I have visual stress syndrome. So basically my eyes just really hurt when I look at stuff black on white. This is what we're going for. Wow. 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 I feel like they just look like groovy sunglasses. So there you go. Anyway, moving on. The first book that I read. There we go. Right, I've already said who it's by. So basically, I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, but upon reflection, I want to give it a 5 out of 5. I think about this book nearly every day, and that's what's making me want to bump it up. There's 2 people, red and blue, they're both female, and what happens is they're on opposing sides of a war which is taking place through time. So like time is described as like strands, so like you can hop between strands of time, and they're on opposing sides of this war. And one side, I wrote notes on this, but I can't remember who is who, so you're gonna have to excuse me. One side is more like technological based, very machine like, I believe maybe is part of a machine, or like the people that they work for has like removed like a certain part of their like emotional range, I think. I can't really, I said that I think about this book every day, can't remember half of the bloody plot. Anyway, and then the other side is more connected to nature, X, Y, Z. Anyway, so they start leaving each other notes throughout time to like, out of like, it starts off as like a goad, one of them being a bit cocky, but then the other person replies, and eventually they build up a rapport, they become friends, and then there's like little tweaks in the letters. Like, I cannot explain to you how well this book depicts the feeling of developing feelings for someone and noticing the minute changes that you see within yourself. And I just thought it was really beautifully written. I didn't understand half of the bloody stuff that was going on in terms of the Time War, so I think I need to reread it to kind of maybe understand that side of it more. But I feel like that bit wasn't as important as the letters. Like the letters was the focal point, do you know what I mean? So, wow. I audibly screamed. And there's a quote in here that I am going to read out because it's bloody lovely. It's the only one. I folded some of the pages, but it's the only one that I tabbed, and I even highlighted it. You can tell this copy's going to stay with me forever. The quote is as follows. I love you, I love you, I love you. I'll write it in the waves, in skies, in my heart. You'll never see, but you will know. I'll be all the poets, I'll kill them all and take each one's place in turn. And every time love is written in all of the strands, it will be to you. Stop it. The book is very poetic, very beautifully written, and I am so glad I kicked off my year with this beautiful book. The next book that I read was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This month has been insane. Has been actually one of the best reading months of my life. So I read this for the book club Backpackers Book Club. I'll leave all the information down below. And dare I say, changed my life. Dare I say. I gave this one a 5 out of 5. I thought it was bloody amazing. I think the writing is just so phenomenal. Very well done. Layers upon layers.
Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
The storyline also is quite phenomenal. I just had such a good time. I couldn't put it down. I think I read it in a day. And you can hear more about my thoughts in the podcast. There is an episode out about it. But yes, I had a phenomenal time. So there's this girl, Feyre, and she lives with her family. Loads of stuff happened which led to her being poor, so she had to learn how to hunt. Her mum is dead. She's got 2 sisters and her father, who has been, like, his leg was smashed in. So he can't really, like, provide for the family, and he's kind of given up. Feyre has to go out and hunt and kind of look after the family. And then she runs into a wolf. She runs into a wolf and kills it because it was going to steal the food that she needed, and out of hatred. She hates the Fays. There's kind of like a hatred between the Fays and the humans. Yada, yada, yada. Turns out the wolf was a fairy that she killed. So the High Fae of the Spring Court comes to take her away. And she has to stay in Prythian, which I believe is how you pronounce the area. Prythian. Apologies if that's wrong. But yeah, she has to stay in Prythian as not as a prisoner, but like to pay her debt. A life for a life type thing. But like, he was like, oh, Tamlin, that's what he's called. He was like, oh, like, I'll spare you. And anyway, she learns more about High Fae, fairies in general, the whole shebang, and things become a bit more complicated when she starts to develop feelings for certain people. There was a curse put on the Spring Court where, like, masquerade masks were stuck on their face, and Feyre is the one to save them all. And I'm not going to explain any more than that. Something happens, no spoilers, but ooh-wee mama, you're in for a treat. You're in for a ride. Right, that's enough about this one, because I'm just going to move on to the second one, which is the second one in the series, which I read this month. A Court of Mist and Fury, again by Sarah J. Maas. So this is obviously the follow-on. So with the way that this one ends, it picks up in this one. And if I gave this 5 out of 5, I'd give this a bloody 10 out of 5. This could potentially be my favourite book I've ever read in the whole entire world. Like, genuinely, I had such a good time. Me and Sid were messing each other back and forth about it, and I was fucking, like, crying. I'm pretty sure this book made me cry. Like, it was just so good. Like, it was just so good. The way that this book seamlessly links to the first one is mind-boggling. I cannot understand how one writer is so gosh darn clever. I've never, honestly, I just can't. And I can't talk about this one because it'll ruin this one, because ever since, basically, the way I describe it is, ever since reading this one, it's made me feel different about this book, and that's what makes it so phenomenal. Like, who would have thought that plot twist coming? Like, who'd have thunk? Do you know what I mean? Just, honestly, please, do yourself a favour. It's amazing. I know that I've not really described it that well. Very unscripted. But it's coming from the heart. It's just phenomenal. Like, it's just so good. They're all the books I read this month. I really didn't read a lot. I think halfway through I moved, so I'm back down in London to finish my 3rd year course. It's been pretty full on. So I've not really had the time to read. So now I'm going to discuss what books I've half read, because I feel like that's important. First of all, classic, of course. I'm this far through the 3rd book in the Agatar series, so A Court of Wings and Ruin. Thoroughly enjoying it so far. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm very much obsessed with this world. I want it to exist. I want certain people in this book to live and be mine. Beep up boop. No spoilers, but there is a certain character who I love and who everyone loves. Anyway, so there's that. There's also Fun Home by Alison Bechdel, which is what I'm doing my like dissertation on. It's called an independent research project. I have nearly finished that. It's a graphic novel. It's classed as a tragicomedy. It's an autobiographical memoir where we follow Alison Bechdel's life and her relationship with her father as she comes to terms with her own sexuality, whilst also trying to deal with and compartmentalise, I think is a correct word, her father's death, which is a highly suspected suicide due to him being a closeted homosexual. So that's what I'm doing my dissertation. Yeah, they're all the books that I read. I can't tell you how many words I did, so I'm gonna install this here. Editing Beth can take over. Hello everyone, it's Editing Beth. I am just here to fill in the gaps. So this month, January, in January I read 4 books in total. I read 1,506 pages, which was fun. My average star rating was 4.67, and altogether my best genre was romance, then LGBTQIA+, fantasy, science fiction, memoir and graphic novel. That's everything, I believe. Bye. So the next 2 books that are in the pipeline for me to read first are My Wife Jodie by V.A. Rudies, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I don't really know too much about this book. So what's happening with this is, something's in the pipeline for the podcast. I'm not going to tell you what, but this is a thriller book all about a man who believes that he's got this perfect life and he is in love with his wife. But on the back it says, he was madly in love with his wife Jodie until he discovered the price she demanded for engineering his perfect life. Ooh. So I'm going to start with this one. Very intrigued, very excited, and you will find out more about this very soon. The next book that I'm going to plan on reading this month is The Falling in Love Montage by Ciara Smith. So this is a book that I picked for our February's pick for the podcast. So if you feel like picking it up and reading it along with us, that'd be really fun, really cool. But basically this is all about 2 girls, one of them who has just come out of a long-term relationship. Her mum's dealing with like an illness and she's just like, maybe like love is just not the one. But then there's a girl called Ruby who comes into her life and who really loves like cheesy rom-com stuff, and they both like each other. But we see the protagonist in the story go on like cheesy movie dates. Ruby is the prettiest girl that she's ever seen, but she doesn't want to get into another relationship. So Ruby challenges her to try a summer romance with the serious parts left out, just like the movies. But what happens when the falling in love montage ends? I know, it just sounded really cute, kind of like really uplifting. We love a bit of sapphic romance here. Yeah, all in all, really excited to read it. Backpackers Book Club aside, I picked out some books that I would really love to delve into this month. And I've picked a lot, probably going to regret that, but that's okay. So the first one, I'm not even going to talk about. I've spoken about it so much in like all of these videos recently. But The Fire Within with Chris DeLacy. It's a middle grade book all about clay dragons that can see the future and a lodger who lives with a grandma and granddaughter. That was really quick, to the point. I picked up Billy Collins's Whale Day and Other Poems. I just would really like to read more poetry. I also bought it because I love whales and the front cover just looks really lovely. The whale poem is so adorable. So I just thought, I don't know, expand my reading a bit. Let's read some poetry. If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. I just thought it was adorable. It's quite short and it just poses the question, what would you sacrifice for an extra day of life? The devil picked that moment to announce in his unusual cheerful manner the next item he'd make disappear. I couldn't think about anything anymore, so I said yes just like that. At that point, the thought that it could happen that my cat Cabbage had never crossed my mind. Apparently, it is a beautiful, moving tale of loss and reconciliation of one man's journey to discover what really matters in modern life. Short, sweet, so that's that. And then the last book that I would love to try and get around to this month is Wranglestone by Darren Charlton. I spoke about this in my previous video with Sid, which was in my book haul. I shall leave kind of, if I can figure it out, I'll leave one of those cool little things where you can click them up there. But I mentioned this one, and it is all about a gay couple called Peter and Cooper, or I hope they become a couple. It's a gay romance book, but it takes place in a zombie apocalypse. A zombie apocalypse. How cool is that? I don't know, do you know what? I really hate thrillers and I hate scary movies. I hate everything like that, but I bloody love zombies. I can't get enough of them. Love them. Anyway, so yeah, really, really excited to read this. Ta-da! Ta-da! That is all I've got to say today. I hope that your month of reading has been really good. Let me know down below what you have read this month, what you're planning on reading, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. You know how this works now. We have a chat. We swap a couple of things down below, and we're good to go. Right, that's it. I guess thank you for sticking around if you made it this far. I completely forgot how I usually end these. Thank you for sticking around if you made it this far. I really appreciate it. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Okay, sick. Bye.